So, good day everyone, especially to you, Sir Anthony Gamali. My 30 minutes video of reporting tackles about Chapter 1, Filipino Influences, Traits and Characteristics. By the way, my name is Erwin Virola Salas, BS Cream 2. So, Chapter 1, Filipino Influences, Traits and Characteristics. So, the Philippines is a meeting point of cultures from all over Asia and the Pacific because it has been a crossroads between East and West, and the emerging of cultures reflects to the country culture and its people. It comes of various ethno-linguistic groups that are native to the island or migrates from various Asia Pacific regions. Filipinos are the people who are naturally born to or recognized with the Philippine country. So the most known traits and attitudes of a Filipino. So, positive traits. Hospitality. Hospitality is displayed by every Filipino, characterized by heartwarming generosity and friendliness exhibited for foreigners and locals alike. Filipinos are well known for being hospitable. This is one of the most popular qualities of Filipinos. Most foreigners who have gone to the Philippines fell in love with the warm hospitality they have experienced while staying in our country. This is a kind of value system which has existed in the country 1,000 years ago. Good thing is that the hospitality of the Filipino is not only shown to the foreigners, but to its fellow Filipino as well. Hospitality of Filipino is shown in the following sample situation. When a person visits a friend's house, the host greets him or her with a very warm welcome. The host will immediately let their visitor sit down and will prepare meal or a snack plus drinks for the visitor. The host will insist that the friend not leave the house with an empty stomach. A host will always make sure you had a great time visiting them. Second, people offer their guest room to visitors if they're going to spend the night. Third, meals offered to guests are very special. A host always finds a way to prepare and great things food and their visitor wants to eat. Example, like me, I invited my friend and I don't have any food to prepare, but we have chicken Bisaya. So we offer those chicken Bisaya to make an adobo or hinalang na manok. Second traits, respect. This is often observed not just by younger people, but also by people of all ages. In the Philippines, respect for one's elders is a tradition. Po and opo, these words are spoken by Filipinos when talking to elders, or in order to show respect to persons in authority. These Filipino words means yes when answering or talking to the elders. Second, pagmamano. Another way of showing respect to elders when greeting them. This is done by putting their elders' hands on their foreheads, like this. Third, Filipinos also show respect at work by making bow to their employers. So the third traits, strong family ties and religious. Filipinos value their families so much that they tend to keep families intact through the generations. Families go to church and pray together because their religion is important and creates a strong bond, marking God as the center of their lives. Filipinos believe in only one God and majority of the population are Catholics. It is value system of Filipino to pray before eating, before going to bed, and before going to start of the meeting, conference of program, gathering, and etc. On weekends, most Filipino make sure to have quality time together by watching television or eating a family meal, watch movie or going to beach resort. Four traits of an attitude of being Filipino. Generosity and helpfulness. Aside from being hospitable, Filipino are also known for being generous. They share what they have to the people around them, and even they only have a little. This could be felt by during birthdays, weddings, or fiesta. When visitors came to celebrate, great tasting special foods are special prepared for everyone. It is shared by friends, families, or even strangers. When you will be in trouble, Filipinos cannot refuse to help. They are always willing to assist you or lend a hand. Fifth, strong work ethics. Another good thing most Filipino have is being hardworking people. They are always willing to work almost the whole day to provide the needs of their families. Filipinos farmers through earning to so little, but they work harder and with not much compensation. Aside from their regular work, Filipinos always find creative ways to look other sources of income, like creating small business from their home where they sell foods and other items for the convenience of their neighbor. Example is being a rapid loader, sari-sari store. Those are sample of business creative. 6. Loving and caring. Because of their generosity, hospitality, and religiosity, Filipinos are found to be the sweetest and most loving people in the world. It is experienced by both foreigners and Filipino women that most Filipino men are so sweet and romantic when it comes to love. They will send their beloved flowers, bring her to a very romantic place, text her sweet quotes, and tell often how special she is to them. Filipino women are also romantic and very caring, which often makes some foreigners want to marry them. Women tend to prepare dinner before their husband comes home. They love and value the relationship, always staying faithful to their husbands. They love deeply and sincerely. So let's go to the negative side of being of negative traits of being Filipino. Fatalism, or bahala na, or come what may attitude. When Filipino are facing difficulties and shortcomings, they have this attitude of leaving it up to God to sort things out. An attitude of what goes around comes around. Filipinos have tendency to surrender the future to luck. They have that strong confidence that everything will work out in his interest without doing anything. Filipinos often accepts bad news or circumstances without trying to stop or change them. This can sometimes be helpful in adversity, but it can also keep us from finding ways of situations. Also, constantly expecting the worst can get pretty depressing. Second, manana habit. True-blooded Filipinos have their attitude of causing delays of accomplishing things or making transactions. When not interested or not in the mood, they wait or reserve until tomorrow or the next day to finish what they are doing or meeting their transactions. However, there are some Filipinos nowadays to make their time in doing things in making decisions promptly. There are some who are habitual late or not showing up at all. There are few Filipinos who are punctual for special meetings. In fact, it is not expected of them to arrive exactly on time, especially on party. The bahala na attitude is the outcome of the manana habit. When the tasks are left undone, this is usually shown and even expressed by people who do not care much of what lies ahead and just leave everything in fate. The third is crab mentality. This is an attitude of some Filipinos values where they tend to push each other down to clear their way for their own gain. Filipino people with this kind of mentality or attitude try their best to ruin each other, either by making issues against the other for him to turn out bad to the public or to the company or organization, so that the people will gradually put distance and lose their confidence and trust that eventually result to their replacement. Fourth, hypocrisy. This is a trait of Filipino where criticism to others' failure to live with the moral standards of the society are inevitable. In the Philippines, morality is the high value. Most of us try to live up to the standards set by the traditional society. However, as no one is perfect, many of us are not actually able to sustain these standards. Their fear of being an outcast has forced a lot of people to live a double standard life. To hide our failure in following a norm, we tend to be condemning those who are caught red-handed. A perfect example could be the criticism faced by those who become pregnant outside those who become pregnant outside marriage, early pregnancy. The sad fact behind this scenario is that some of these critics could have actually engaged in premarital sex to only no proof is visible. The example, the neighbors will judge us as what we are. Fifth is Ningas Kugon. Most Filipino are very good at the start when doing something. Nevertheless, after a few hours or days, the excitement to do or accomplish something is lost. We and become too lazy to finish what they have started. 6. Tardiness. Filipino time. Only in the Philippines that we have the so-called Filipino time, but not exactly referring to the Philippines. Standard time, but then again we use it to refer the tardiness of persons that we are waiting or keeps on coming late to the set time schedule of events. Instead of being something to be proud of, Filipino time brings a negative impression to our people. When the invitation says the program will start at 7 p.m., it is expected to begin at 9 p.m. This is not only cause conflicts in relationships, it also discourages others, including foreigners, from getting involved in supposedly the productive activities, as too much they can be wasted on time. 7. Gossiping. Filipinos are fond of talking about others' business. It is not true that women are into gossiping. Even men can also be nosy on other people's lives. Secrets are brought out, failures and flaws are emphasized, and relationships are destroyed. Worse, as gossips are passed around, they tend to be twisted until the final story becomes too far from the original, thus causing more damage. Number 8. Blaming. Filipinos can sometimes be too self-righteous. When mistakes happen, we do not want to take the blame. We lack humility to accept our failure, and instead we point at others. This shows how irresponsible we are on our actions. This attitude destroys teamwork, and reliability becomes an issue. 9. Selfishness. Being insensitive of others. Most Filipinos are insensitive to the needs and situation of others. This could be an outcome of having too many problems that the Filipino are facing. The tendency is to focus on their own needs first before others. Then, disobedience to simple rules and instruction. Some Filipinos, despite of the understanding of the purpose of laws or ordinance, have inability to observe and follow them. Consequently, crime and victimization accident rate in the Philippines are the constant. Crime victimization and accident rate as the Philippines are constant. Rising poverty is getting more rampant, and lifestyle develop is relaxed. attention to taker. Filipinos are fun and people-loving race. Thus, attracting attention is natural for them. Nevertheless, it is a different thing to be an ipal or kapalmoks, simply being an attention grabber. Sometimes, in our desperate need to be the center of attention, we do things that are already embarrassing, like butting in conversation as a know-it-all or by being scandalous. This habit is also common to our politicians. Instead of prioritizing their duty to give the best service to the people, they rather prioritize their thick faces to grab attention that will bring them more chance of winning in the next election. But thanks to our vigilant netizens, this kind of politician earns more shame than fame. 12. Being onion skin or too sensitive. Another habit or attitude that we need to change is our being too proud, which usually results to being oversensitive. If we think highly of ourselves, then we have the tendency to put a wall around us and that a signboard on our forehead saying I must be respected. Therefore, when someone makes a jokes or a not so positive comment about us, we feel like we are not respected and we get offended. If all people in the country do not know how to accept constructive criticism, then we can never expect unity. 13. Living beyond their means or social climbing. One of the reasons why a lot of Filipinos live in poverty is because our overspending. Since most Filipino want to live an elite lifestyle, many resort to social climbing or living beyond their means. Sometimes, some of us think that as long as we wear designer clothes and shoes, and we send our children to the most expensive school, it is alright to be swimming in credits and loans. 14. Passivity, lack of leadership. Filipinos lack of initiative for change is also one reason why our country does not progress. We keep on complaining against the government and other societal issues. However, we do not do anything about them. One of our excuses is the lack of faith that our small actions can bring change. However, the worst reason for this could be our lack of care for what is happening around us. Common Filipinos also lack courage and confidence. If you can notice, it in classroom, churches, or conference rooms, most of us don't like to sit in the front seat. 15. Other negative traits. Some Filipino women give birth at an early age, 16, teenage pregnancy. Some just don't mind their own business. Some have many bad habits like drinking, smoking, etc. Some poor teenagers engage in prostitution. There are many broken families. A lot of bad words to choose from, which Filipinos just can't avoid saying those. Most Filipinos tend to be weak friends most of the time than to be with their parents. Let's move on in Filipino character and personality. Three main traits and underscoring Filipino values. First is personalism. Filipino valued interpersonal relationship. It is firmly believed that harmonious personal relationship is the key to success in divorce. Amicable settlement of dispute is the primary means of restoring broken relationships, and face-to-face open forum is considered once conflict is recognized in an organization or community. Second, familialism. Filipinos are family-oriented. Development programs and projects in the community are concentrated on the family. Decision on matters is centered on the welfare and best interests of the family rather than the betterment and interests of some individuals. The mistakes committed by a Filipino member affects the credibility of the immediate members of the family and relatives. Third, particularism. Displayed behavior by the individual, may it be good or bad, is blamed against the family. It is based on the principle that home is a cradle or of human personality and character, that is the product of goodness is also product goodness is always good, and those who are molded in weakness will always show of badness. Individuals strive to promote their own and their family interests over community interests. On the other hand, knowing how to entertain people o marunong umasikaso ng kapwa is important. Conformity to proper codes of conduct reaps the rewards of cooperation and assistance. Non-conformity is pushed by withdrawal of support. Last is Filipino value orientation. So values orientation is the approach that may influence work or social relationships by persons relating to objects, events, and ideas. There are three main obligations underlying Filipino value orientation. The rational or face-to-face interaction and the resulting responsibilities are called interpersonal obligations. This is in relation to the value in Filipino culture orientation, the personalism, pakikiramay, pakikisama, bayanihan, and galang are the nature of interpersonal relationship that are inherent to the pure-blooded Filipino people. First, pakikiramay. It is the Filipino value of going out of the way to help without being asked. Second, pakikisama. Smooth interpersonal relationship, regardless whether someone's views are agreeable or not. Filipinos are capable of getting along with it. Camaraderie, trust, confidence, and loyalty are enhanced and developed by this Filipino value. Third, bayanihan. As mentioned in the preceding topics, Filipino are able to render service and generous enough to extend help without compensation. Somebody can request help in the time of need from those to whom it is extended. If someone will transfer his home, bayanihan will be useful. Fourth, galang or respect. Filipinos are basically oriented to reverse to the opinions of elders peers or those in authority during important discussions, during social encounters, verbal clash, or any sign of extreme familiarity in public meetings is a sign of disrespect to elders or persons in authority. That's all for my report. Thank you, sir.